The next show we're going to be talking about is Mahotsukai no Yomen or The Ancient Magus Bride.
Yes, this one. I don't know why. I have not seen a lot of people talking about this, and I don't know why. Have you?
No, no, not really.
See, I don't know why. I don't know why this isn't being. This seems very underrated. I really think so.
Yeah.
Um, this is just an amazing show. I enjoy it in the same sense of kind of like with the Blood Brigade. It's there's always something new, something interesting going on, some way it's traveling. And I'm like, I just want to know, I want to see what's going on. And the characters themselves are very interesting, at least for me.
Mhm.
the I want to know more about the Magus. I want to know what's going on with him, why he's doing like what. There seems like a whole bunch of underlying things that's going on that you're just not aware of at the moment because
Yeah.
you're kind of in the same boat as the girl,
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
fact
yeah,
that
yeah.
you're everything is new and fresh and she doesn't know what's going on, and you get that sinking feeling that something else is happening, and it isn't until like it gets revealed that you're like, oh, that's why, kind of thing. Like for instance with her and the fae, when they were leading her out into the woods,
Mhm.
and I was like, that doesn't seem like a good idea. Something about that doesn't seem right. But they were in the house, so maybe that's okay.
Yeah, at a certain point, I thought they were talking about like, oh, our house is like a shed or something like that, or it's like, oh, it's in the backyard. Come to the backyard with us. And then after a while, I'm like, y'all are getting kind of far away from the house. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it's getting
What's
dark.
going what's going on
Yeah.
here? And then all of a sudden that steps and you're like, oh, okay. But it's like they still weren't they still it wasn't with malice.
Hmm.
I don't believe it was with malice. I believe she has a strong hold, even if she doesn't realize it or can't do it. She has a strong hold on them, and they're afraid of that. They're afraid of somebody teaching her or potentially using her to have a hold on them,
Yeah.
which is why they were trying to take her away because they felt it was safer that way. I don't even think they would ever hurt her or have abused her in any sort of way. I think that it was purely for their own self-preservation in
Yeah.
that regards. That's how I see that.
Hmm.
And I know the Magus needs he's saying they're a dying breed, and he wants an apprentice to be able to pass on his information and being able to have another person. I'm just like, there's something else. There's something else with this because you're being very dedicated in that regards.
Yeah.
There's something else.
The urgency seems a little high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, and he is saying, "Oh, I'm going to take you as a bride or whatever," but I'm like, again, it's like something else is going on, and
Yeah.
I'm curious about that, and I want to know what's going on. But the things that you see with her, and the experiences that you make with her, you know, and each little thing you realize more and more how horrible her life was before she got taken in by him. It almost reminds me of Natsume and his life,
Hmm.
how when he was a kid and no one would believe him, and he would see these things, and it became such a drag both mentally and physically for him. It's the same thing with her. She sees these things, she had no idea why, but she did, and no one believed her, and it just became such a physical and mental, and then on top of that, having her mother kill herself.
Yeah, they haven't like gone deep into that explanation for
No,
that. So
they
I'm like,
haven't.
I
But
really want to know.
it happened, and it was a detrimental thing on her and everything. So, but like, and just the looks of it, I feel like this is like Harry Potter all over again. Just because like she's learning about magic, you're seeing these new things, and you're just like, it's exciting in its own sense and
Mhm.
everything, and learning the different things. And I this above all else, I am so happy with the way that they have dragons in here.
Yeah.
This is one of the first times I've seen in media where dragons They're not bad. They're beings, they're creatures, they're thought provoking. It's everything that I've come to learn and love about dragons was in that one episode that they had with dragons in there, and I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
awesome.
the way that this story is being told so far, I kind of like. I'm in two places in my head because like for the initial run, like the OVA, the first 3 episodes. It's one of them things where she started out with being comfortable and like already knowing everybody. And then she tells the story of her past, like why a certain book was important to her. And
Yeah.
it's really cool how she comes across this library and meets this guy, gets the book, and you get to see like her think fondly of the library because it's something that's very important to her. It was like her escape from
Yeah. Oh,
the
absolutely.
the abuse and everything that she was having at home, and it's
Yeah.
really sad. It's just like how it reminds you of Natsume. It reminds me of Kotora from another song, and
Yeah.
it's more like Natsume because it's monsters and stuff like that, but it's like the parents part and stuff like that. Because I haven't seen Natsume, it definitely reminds me of Kotora.
Yeah. No, I
And
can see that.
one thing that's really cool is that some of those monsters are freaking me out too, because
Yeah.
like there was one that was
Imagine
like
them as a kid.
yeah, and it's like there was one that was half of a head laying in a pile of hair with an arm sticking out of it, and I'm like, what in the world is that? And like
Yeah.
they don't, each monster that you see like that doesn't last long enough for you to figure out exactly what it is or what it's trying to do. It's just she's like ugh and just runs off somewhere, and you're like,
Yeah.
I don't even know what that was. Okay, I'm glad we're off somewhere else away from that thing, but please don't run into any more. And she just keeps like coming across all these like horror situations. So I love how the library was the sanctuary for her, and like she started to kind of become comfortable somewhere in the world. And
Because you feel for her in that regards. I mean, you really feel how just horrible her life was in that, and the fact that she actually had a place where she could get away and not have to worry about that, not have to fear about all these monsters or creatures, and still feel normal, I guess, in a sense.
yeah, because like, even at the beginning, she didn't trust the library at all.
No.
And it took like a while for her to get comfortable. And then once she finally got comfortable, of course, all good things must come to an end. So it was kind of sad for that. But she did, like, then once that whole situation's over, there's a gap. Because this series now that just started, it's when she first met the Magus, like how she got bought at an auction and stuff like that. And it's cool that she's finally going to another place that's safe because we have history with her, and we're like, oh my god, where is she? Like, what has she been going through all this time? So it's good that she has a new safe place, but then there's also like there are some dangers there, like with the fairies and stuff like that. And then there's this whole weird thing where it's like the Magus, he's an unknown character. You don't know exactly everything about him. And then he just kind of shows up, takes her, and leaves in like a rush. So,
well, I get the fact. I think in that sense also too. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's still way more going on as far as that goes. But I also think that he was in a rush because he knows how valuable and precious she is, and how much people will want to come after her, will want her.
Yeah.
So I think that's he was just trying to get her away from that as soon as possible, simply because he was more afraid of if the longer he lingered, the more danger there would be in that regards.
Okay.
So I could kind of see that. He's kind of protecting her in that regards, but I think he's protecting her without telling her everything.
Yeah, he's not telling her anything. He's just like, you're going to learn magic now. And also, oh, by the way, we're getting married. She's like, what?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, and I think in that sense, too, I think and it's kind of how they touched on it in the OVA that they had originally, is that he is not, like, he's very wise, has a great deal of control of magic, but I think human social standards, he's like a child.
Yeah.
Very low on the totem on that as far as human socialization and understanding the ins and outs, because I think he's lived for a very long time, and I think in that sense, if he's lived for a very long time, he's secluded himself for so long, he's still used to the old ways of doing things, and he's still very new as far as that goes. So, and I'm assuming here soon we'll basically, I think where I'm at now, where we're at now in the series, I think is pretty much within like an episode or so where that OVA would have taken place.
Yeah, that's one thing that I'm glad that hopefully it like syncs up pretty soon.
Yeah.
Cause like I want to know where the dog is, and
Yeah.
that's the only character that's
I
missing so far.
Yeah. And I think like again, I think we're within like an episode or two where that's gonna pop up.
Yeah, cause
And then once we get to that point, then we'll sync up with the OVA, and then we'll move on from there. I think
cool.
so. But again, I really feel like this is a very underappreciated series this season. I think this is probably one of the top ones up there. Within at least the top 3 easily.
Yeah.
And it's not being very, very talked about, and people aren't very paying much attention to it. So I'm kind of disappointed in that, because I'm like, why? Watch this series. This is amazing stuff. So
what, I guess where do you think this is going? Is this like
well, I mean, as he has said, the Maguses are a dying breed. Said there's not very many out there, and I think it's because of how, and they kind of they touched on it a little bit, the fact that there's a difference between a Magus and a sorcerer. How Maguses use the Fae and to help do their work and stuff, whereas a sorcerer is more about the miracles and manipulation of the energy around them, kind of thing. So I think there's going to be like a conflict in between that, and it's I don't know. It's more or less finding out in the world how in the world Maguses fit in, and whether or not she's going to go for it. Because he said it's up to her. He said you are going to learn magic, but what you do with it, and so that's entirely up to you. So you have the potential, is your choice how you want to do that. What do you want to do with it? And then he did say you're going to be my bride, but I think he did say that I think he was more or less, he was making his intentions clear, but the fact that he wanted to woo her, I guess, in a sense.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to take my time on this, but I want you to know this is what I'm intending, kind of thing. So
yeah, it's kind of awkward because like he technically owns her, and like she mentioned that before.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things where it's like, he's like, yeah, you're gonna learn magic and all this kind of stuff, and she's like, I kind of don't have a choice, do I? And he's like, no. And I'm like, it's a little.
You don't have a choice, but
Yeah.
necessarily force you into it, kind of thing. I want you to be wanting to do it yourself as well.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I think she kind of does. So.
Yeah. So, the only threat that's out there is there's not really a threat, really. Like, he basically has to keep tabs on whatever the church has problems with.
Yeah.
And other than that, I don't really see a threat. I kind of am curious what
I think it's like the church has like the information, the information network to know when a problem is coming up.
Yeah.
Or if there's a potential issue, and they kind of keep their ear to the ground and try to figure out the stuff. And when they find one that there is a potential issue, that's when they come to him and be like, okay, this isn't something we can deal with. We need you to deal with it.
Yeah, because like I'm trying to figure out like why are the Maguses dying out? Like, is it sorcerers versus Maguses, and that like right now none of the sorcerers are attacking him because he's kind of like in hiding and nobody knows where he is. And then once maybe they find out that the girl, what's her name? TacoYaki? Whenever he finds out that his bride is there and that she's a certain like she has that amount of power, do you think like then the sorcerers will start attacking and stuff like that? Because
potential, and that might have been another reason why he was so quick to wanting to get away from where he was at, and why people were astonished to see him out, because he's probably been in hiding and secluded himself for as long as he has.
Yeah.
So that way he did not come into conflict in that regards.
Okay.
So, but now that he's moving around, he must know and is prepared himself for the fact that he's probably going to have confrontation and such. And he's very tricky, and he is very. You can tell he has the power there.
Yeah.
Because of the fact when she got taken by the dragon, and even though it was essentially a friend of his, kind of in a way, got taken by the dragon, he even though it was kind of a surprise for him, he was still there. He was in her shadow.
I was like, oh. Dude's
He was like,
awesome.
oh, he's like, he's. You're not gonna give him the slip that easily. He is not. He is still gonna keep tabs on that, and you're not. I'm like, when he came out of that, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, no, he's still right there. You're not gonna try anything funny on that regards.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm ready to see like the bar raised as far as like powers and stuff like that. It was like cool that the that dragon guy was like kind of got the slight upper hand on him, and he had to like pull out a unique skill to keep it
come back.
yeah, to come back. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm kind of like ready to see like either I want to know more about how the magic works in this world, because like how he teleported, like he put his staff down and the like branches and stuff like that went over him, and then poof, they're somewhere
Well,
else.
he's the. They've called him the Vine Mage.
Ah,
So I think that's a focal point for him.
cool. Now I'm interested. I'm like, well, what other kind of?
Oh no, they didn't call him the Vine. They called him the Thorn Mage.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
all
I
those
think
vines
somebody
had
said thorns
on
in
them. He's a
it.
Thorn Mage.
Yeah. So that's yeah, it's cool. Now I'm like, what other types of mages are there? Like, can you just
Yeah.
be a mage of anything? And yeah, this sounds awesome. Definitely, I'm glad it's on
Listen,
Crunchyroll, so everyone can watch
I can't
it.
sing enough praise about this one. It's very interesting. It's a new take on something because you got the different magic types and they're kind of explaining the sorcery and magus and like very interesting, and it has a lot of good information on it. And it just seems like it's just so underrated and not that many people are talking about it. Needs to have more focus on it. People need to be watching the show.
Yeah,
I want to see this. I want to see this one go the distance. I want to see this one be at least a 24 episode show. I want to see it go into like at least 2 seasons, and then even maybe even further, because
Yeah.
I think it has that potential.
Yeah, the world is like unique enough to where like it could just go on for a very long time.
Oh, it could. It could.
Cool. Dude's like, hey, I found this girl. Let's bring her onto the ship. And I'm like, what are you doing? She just had a knife to your throat. What? I'm like, okay. And then he doesn't tell anybody that she tried to kill.
To me, why I'm on the fence is more of I continue watching out of just curiosity more or less than anything else.
Yeah,
I know things are going to go down. I know how it's going to play out because it's very predictable. But